For more on this, TRT World's health correspondent Nicola Hill joins us now from London. Nicola, what else can you tell us about this study?
Well, AstraZeneca's scientists are saying it's potentially a breakthrough because what's so important with antibody therapy is it can be given to people, they hope, early on in the disease to prevent the disease becoming more serious. And it might even actually end up being something that can be prophylactic. Now, AstraZeneca isn't the first ones to do this. Lilly announced that they'd started trials on patients in 3 hospitals, phase 1 trials, based on using one cloned antibody, one that came from a patient who had the lung illness that Covid-19 can then cause. So AstraZeneca are saying that their potential therapy is based on 2 antibodies, cloning 2 together, and that's because their chief executive says if you have 2, there's an advantage, because then if there's resistance against one of the antibodies, the other one might work, and also it might extend what they call the half-life, how long this works for, up to about 6 months. So then maybe people might not need another treatment, or they just have one every 6 months. This is all to be discovered. So it's something that people hope, it might be effective, but we don't know. Now, I spoke to somebody from AstraZeneca this morning, and I asked, have trials begun? If so, how many, and what phase in the trials are you up to? They confirmed everything that I've just said, but they can't give us any more information at the moment. They've promised they will tell me when they are able to give me any more information. So basically, it's watch this space.
So, Nicola, we don't know too much about it yet, but what's the difference between this antibody therapy and a vaccine?
Well, a vaccine is when you're given something to make your own body produce antibodies against the virus. Certainly with the virus that's causing Covid-19, you want the antibodies to fight that spike protein that we've all seen pictures of, so that it can't break into cells and replicate and make us sicker. Now, as people get older, they make fewer antibodies themselves, so there is concern that perhaps for those people a vaccine won't work because their immune system's not as strong, which is why the elderly population is doing so badly with Covid-19. And then you've got people who've got a compromised immune system, they've got underlying health conditions, and they too will probably, it's thought, struggle to create their own antibodies against Covid-19. So what these cloned antibodies can do is do that purpose for you. I mean, what's happening with the Lilly drug, as I said, we know that it came from a patient who had this lung illness. Now, AstraZeneca at the moment, we don't know exactly where their 2 antibodies come from. What we do know is that they've been working in collaboration with scientists in China and in America, and that they've been looking at potential antibody therapy coming also from people who fought against Covid-19 and created antibodies, so a cloned one from previous patients. And they've also been looking at cell lines, and they've been looking at animal experiments as well. So we don't as yet know where theirs comes from. But anything like that that can then be given as a therapy to patients to help them fight against the disease is welcomed. There is a caveat, something both vaccinologists and the people working in antibody therapy have to be careful about, is something called ADE, antibody-dependent enhancement, which is when actually the antibodies that you create or are given to you supercharge the virus, in fact, and make the situation worse rather than better. So this is something that scientists working on vaccines, and which of course AstraZeneca is working on both arms here, both the vaccines and the therapy, and this is something that they're monitoring very closely.
Wow. All right. Nicola Hill in London, thank you.